Most biology textbooks have a section about evolution. One of the favorite proofs commonly included in such a chapter is the similarity of embryos from a variety of animals and man. This information may be traced back to embryologist Ernest Haeckel in the mid-1800s. Haeckel published pictures he claimed were the embryos of fish, salamanders, tortoises, chickens, hogs, calves, rabbits, and human beings. He tried to show that the embryos looked similar in the early stages of development. This was supposed to show that they all had a common ancestor. The problem is, the pictures were faked. This fraud was known and published as early as 1894 by Professor Adam Sedgwick of Cambridge University, and as recently as 2000 by the curator of the fossil collection at Harvard's Museum of Comparative Zoology, Stephen J. Gould. Haeckel's fraudulent drawings are presently in at least 10 major biology textbooks published from 1998 through the year 2000.
Ernst Haeckel was a pioneer zoologist and taxonomist whose numerous contributions to biology go largely unnoticed compared to a couple rather odd errors. First, he proposed that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, suggesting that embryonic development reflects the organism's evolutionary ancestry. To illustrate this, he produced about 100 drawings of embryos at various stages, but he later admitted that about a half dozen of them were falsified due to a lack of visual references. The fact that any of his drawings were admittedly without references disgraced Haeckel's name in the annals of science. Darwin wrote that embryology contained compelling evidence of evolution. Creationists dismissed this on the assumption that Darwin's theory was inspired by Haeckel's fraudulent drawings and that consequently evolution is a fraud. But of course the truth is the other way around. Darwin referred to real embryos. Haeckel's drawings didn't even exist until years after Darwin's final publication. What is especially sad about Haeckel's embellishments was that they were unnecessary. Creationists adamantly complained that textbooks referred to his admittedly inaccurate drawings for so long, but for some reason they continue to accuse those authors of fraud, even when the books replace those drawings with microphotographs which still indicate the same evolutionary parallels which Haeckel envisioned. Now, his original assumption that embryonic development would indicate adult species in an organism's ancestral history was proven false by 1910. But the fact Darwin recognized that embryology does provide testable confirmations and predictions of phylogeny was already evident before Haeckel ever picked up a pencil, and has recently began a new embryological study known as Evo-Devo. Among other discoveries, this field revealed the evolutionary origin of the feather as implied by transitional stages in the fossil record and summarized in the formation of feathers in developing chickens. It is no hoax that mammalian embryos temporarily have pharyngeal pouches, which are morphologically indistinguishable from the gill slits in modern fish embryos, and that the divergence of development from there matches what is indicated in the fossil record. This is fact, not fraud, and none of these facts should be true unless evolution were true also.
Spontaneous generation, or abiogenesis, or chemosynthesis. George Wald, evolutionist and professor of biology at Harvard, admits, "One has only to contemplate the magnitude of this task to concede that the spontaneous generation of a living organism is impossible. Yet here we are, as a result, I believe, of spontaneous generation." Notice that some scientists are so steeped in the theory of evolution, they cannot bring themselves to fully accept the absolutely irrefutable scientific proof of laboratory experiments. has been claimed that the geological column, as a faunal succession, is not just a hypothetical concept, but a reality, because all Phanerozoic systems exist superposed at a number of locations on the Earth. Close examination reveals, however, that even at locations where all 10 systems are superposed, the column, as represented by sedimentary thickness, is mostly missing. The global stack of index fossils exists nowhere on Earth, and most index fossils do not usually overlie each other at the same locality. So even in those places where all Phanerozoic systems have been assigned, the column is still hypothetical and purposely deceitful. In spite of these and many other well-documented frauds, deceits, and lies, the evolutionary fairy tale continues to be taught as fact to this day. But not only is it not fact, for the most part, it isn't even remotely good science, much less honest.